Hello, everybody. So today we're going to be talking about the case of Davohnte Morgan. I first heard about this case from the YouTuber Danielle Hallen. I love her channel. Many of the cases that I report, I have probably heard from her first. I don't know how, but she always just manages to find cases that I feel like most YouTubers have never covered. So that's where I get most of my cases from, and she's just so good at doing deep dives on cases that really have almost no information. And while this case had not a whole lot, but a decent amount, I guess, she did a very good video with that, so I highly suggest you check out her channel. Also, other links that I used for research will be down below, like always. And let's go ahead and get into this. So, Davohnte Van Morgan was a popular, musically talented 27-year-old from San Francisco. He had a girlfriend he met in 2019 at a concert, and they would become inseparable. And I want to stop here real quick about the girlfriend. I could not find a name, and I don't think there was a name in Danielle's video, and I also could not find a photo. So when I would type in like Davohnte Morgan girlfriend or Davohnte Morgan missing girlfriend, or any of those words together, there was never just like one photo of someone, like a consistent photo of someone that I could be like, okay, is this the person? So I don't know if she's ever been named or if we even have photos of her. So I'm just putting that out there. Other than spending a lot of his time with her, he absolutely loved his family, and he was very close to his mom, Terry, and his brother, Anthony. Terry says that everyone was immediately drawn to Davonte's personality and his beautiful eyes. For years, he had a stutter, except for when he would sing or rap. He helped out with the kids at church and sang in the church choir. He adored his family, and he never missed a family event. Before his disappearance, his family says that Davohnte was going through a tough time emotionally. He was the victim of a shooting after he was wrongly targeted while sitting on his front porch. As a result, his loved ones say that he suffered from trauma and depression. So we're going back to the girlfriend for a moment. So he met her at that concert in 2019 that I was talking about, and she was an older woman that we do know, and an article said that she was about 20 years his senior. His family says that they wanted him to be happy, but that there were several red flags surrounding this woman, and I couldn't find exactly what they believed those red flags were, but nonetheless, they definitely weren't the biggest fan of her. So, what happened in this case? Let's get into it. On May 4th, 2020, Davohnte and his girlfriend decided to drive down to Mount Shasta, California. So, Mount Shasta is about 4 hours north of San Francisco. They rented a car and a motel room at the Cold Creek Inn. So, a family birthday party had been planned for May 5th, so Davohnte would be returning home the next morning. Anthony called Davonte's girlfriend's cell phone because Davonte's was broken, and he said Davohnte seemed fine and happy. And that would be the last time they would speak. On May 5th, his girlfriend would call Anthony and said that they had gone into a fight and that Davohnte had left. Anthony noticed that there was no emotion or urgency in her voice. On May 7th, his girlfriend would file a missing persons report at 9:16 a.m. The Mount Shasta police also found it odd that she showed no emotion and she seemingly made everything about her. Sergeant Devin Pretty of the police department, he said that she was acting, quote, loony and all over the place, and also stated that she did not seem concerned or sad or upset that he hadn't been found. So for someone whose boyfriend has gone missing seemingly, and you filed a missing report, you don't really seem like you care, is basically what they were all getting, which is definitely weird. And a quote from Ruthie DeVore, Davonte's aunt, she says, when I talked to her, she made sure to give this narrative of like him just walking off into the sunset with a pina colada versus explaining that this was just something he would never do, end quote. So basically, he wouldn't just up and leave. But his girlfriend certainly painted it that way, that like, oh, he was just mad and stormed off. When his family's like, that's just not the Davohnte we know. So the girlfriend said that the argument started when Davohnte woke her up in the early morning hours of May 5th to smoke a cigarette. They had left the key in the motel room and had to be um, let back in by the night clerk. She said that they continued to fight until Davohnte left on foot. She said she saw him later that morning walking down North Mount Shasta Boulevard, and she said he still looked mad, so she just went back into the motel room. His family knew that his girlfriend knew more than what she was letting on, and that something happened to him. They felt like the police believed her narrative of him just walking away, and the family just wanted the police to do more. Because they were just like, oh, yeah, sure, this man just walked away into the sunset. Makes total sense. So, this is actually a quote from Terry, his mother, and she says, thinking back now, something happened. To him, while in her presence, I believe that the girlfriend had something to do with Davohnte going missing. End quote. And before we continue on, I just want to give my thoughts on the situation that she has presented to us. Not Terry, but the girlfriend. Um, they get up early in the morning to smoke a cigarette. Okay, sure. They leave the key in the motel room. They get locked out. They have to be let in by the night clerk. And so they started fighting. And sure, I can definitely feel like being annoyed that someone left the key in the room. You have to go get the night clerk. It's this whole deal when you just want to go back to bed. Completely understand that. I could see in that moment someone being so annoyed that they just kind of not really storm off, but they kind of like walk off. They need to blow off some steam. They walk off on foot. But remember, she says these are in the early morning hours, and he just stays gone. She sees him later in the morning walking down the street, just walking down the road. Okay, like they're not from this area. They don't know this area. They're staying here for one day. And he's just walking up and down the road. I feel like this situation of leaving a key in a room is way too small of a situation to be that mad over. I don't believe that he was just so upset about the key thing that he just stormed off and he was gone the entire morning just walking up and down a road in a town that he does not know. Like, I don't believe that. And she sees him. He looks so mad that she just goes back into the motel room. He is so mad about a key that you just don't talk to him. Like, okay, at that point, it's later in the day. Like, let's just say, like, so far she's telling the truth. Let's say we're looking out at Davohnte walking up and down the street. Are you that upset as well that you're not gonna be like, hey, babe, like, it was a stupid fight. Regardless of who did it. Like, let's just talk it out, or like, let's just get over it. Let's enjoy the rest of our time here. Like it's just a room key. You know, but the fact that she just sees him, oh, he looks mad, I'm not going to bother him, and just going back into the room. No, I feel like most people would just be like, okay, this person still looks mad. It was just a room key. It has to be something deeper than that. I need to talk to my boyfriend. Like if my boyfriend, if that was him, I'd be like, hey, like, are you really mad about the room key? Is that really what this is about? And I would stop him and talk to him like, why are you walking up and down the road? Like, just come back to the room. Like, why are you doing this? Like you're being silly. Because it's just a silly situation, and that seems like a very weird reaction in that argument. And we're just going off the assumption that is completely about the room key. Like, she said they continued fighting. So what else did they fight about? It had to have been something more than just a room key for him to stomp off and just never come back that morning. It's just weird. According to police, Davohnte was last seen on surveillance video walking in Mount Shasta on May 5th, 2020 around 10 a.m. So he was out there walking. Um, they said in a statement at the same time that they initially did not conduct searches of the wilderness and waterways around Mount Shasta because I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Siskiyou County is roughly the size of Hawaii, or around 4 million acres. And so I guess it was just too big for them to initially conduct a search. They also noted that there was no evidence indicating that he may have entered any wilderness areas, and Videos show him walking in safe areas around the hotel where he was staying, so they didn't really have like a reason to go looking. Eventually, searchers, including volunteers and family, canvassed the area where he was last spotted. The search later expanded into wooded areas near town, and there was no trace of him or anything belonging to him has been found. The police received a tip from a woman who remembered seeing the couple fighting outside her house on May 5th. And I have no information on whether anything came from that tip. So his family said that the people of Mount Shasta were not inviting or welcoming, and said that they would put missing persons posters up and they would just get torn down. Many people, including a sergeant from the police department and the mayor, said that the people of Mount Shasta were peaceful and loving, and they would deny those claims that the people of the town wouldn't want to help. And I will say, like, that's not the first time I've heard of people in this town being rude or racist. Like, I've heard like several different just random claims of people saying that the people around here just like aren't as nice as they try to be. So take that with a grain of salt, but like I have heard more claims than just this, that the people aren't the nicest there. On July 24th, 2020, Anthony ran into a man outside of Burger King. He said that the man told him that Davohnte had been picked up in a white truck and driven to the river behind a campground. Police went to the area and said that Davohnte wasn't there and no evidence was found of him either. So Davohnte is still missing and this case is still unsolved. And that's all I have for you on this case. Like I said, Danielle Helen did a remarkable job of just going in on this case. I really recommend her video. But I do have a description of Davohnte for you. So he has black hair, brown eyes, and he had numerous tattoos. He had a money bag and diamonds on the top of his left hand, flames on his left wrist, dollar signs and the words motivation, dedication on his left arm, the word Chedda, Chedda, on his right arm, and a lion on his chest. And he does walk with a slight limp. He had a goatee at the time of his disappearance. He's 5'11", 165 pounds, and he would now be 32. He was last seen in a black knit turtleneck shirt, black sweatpants with a white line, and red San Francisco 49ers slide-type sandals with black soles and a white ST logo. Anybody with any information is urged to contact the Mount Shasta Police Department at 530-926-7540. Again, that phone number is 530-926-7540. It's no surprise here that I definitely think that the girlfriend also knows more than what she's saying. I just feel like we didn't really get a whole lot of details about their fight, and maybe those details just weren't released for a reason. But I just think that if it really was just about a room key, that was a really explosive reaction. Leaving and then just not coming back and just refusing to come back. It's just a really weird reaction. I feel like they argued about something else. And I think it might have gotten out of hand, and I think she might have done something. But I 100% believe that she at least knows something. And I definitely think it's weird that, like, the people around there, supposedly, the family is saying, like, they're tearing down posters, and I'm not saying, like, every single person in the town is a bad person. I'm just saying, like, maybe there's quite a few bad ones there, and they really don't want to help. And I'm not saying, like, someone there did it, but it's something to think about, because I don't think the family would just say, like, oh, they're doing this if they didn't have a reason to say that, you know? I don't think they're just going to accuse an entire town of being these rude people if they didn't have a reason to say it. So I think that there's probably maybe several people that do know what happened and they're just not speaking up. But that's really my thoughts about it, is like, yeah, I feel like the police should be doing more. The fact that they also noticed that the girlfriend really had no emotion and they're just like, he left, whatever. And their initial reaction was just really disappointing. But with that being said, if there are any updates in this case, I will update you guys later on. Definitely go support Danielle Hallen and watch her video. Check out the links below and do your own research on this case. Thank you so much for listening to Davonte's story, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.